What is up, Trading View? Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in every single day or every single week whenever you come to do these market analysis with me. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to start on the weekly time frame instead of the daily time frame. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this XAUUSD chart and see what's happening and what we're planning on doing tomorrow as we wait for non-farms payroll. And I believe it is the job claims tomorrow as well. Let's see. We might have a lot of news coming out tomorrow. When is this? This is for August 2nd. Here's August 1st. I'm sure we'll be able to spot it a lot better when we drop down into the daily. But as you can see on the weekly, yes, we were still in an uptrend, as indicated here. Okay, indicating our uptrend. And now we've had a couple sections to the market, giving us our higher high, higher lows, another higher high. And then we've kind of gotten this higher low right here. And that's kind of where we're at in the market, is on this weekly candle that we're given. And it's a nice full weekly candle. Failed rejection down here on the daily liquidity zone as we pushed higher. And right now we want to see if the market is going to continue to push higher or if we're going to get some continued form of a pullback. So let's go ahead. Let's drop down into our daily time frame. The daily time frame has been very strong. Not a ton of bearish momentum. We had a nice doji candle, and usually a doji candle, especially on a daily time frame, is going to be a form of a continuation versus just a retracement in the market. So we're looking to maybe get some type of continuation, especially with our weekly up top weekly liquidity zone, and that also simultaneously is our higher high that we've had. I marked an area yesterday in this area where I'd love to see the first sign of us getting a either continuation would be a break of this, where I would start to look for some type of deeper pullback into where we would continue to take the market higher. But we could very well get a pushback above and then form something like this. And that's looking kind of choppy when I'm using my pen because I'm on the daily. But as we drop down now into our 4-hour time frame, if you go back and you look at my review that I dropped yesterday, we just came out of this descending channel right here. The market broke outside of our descending channel, pushed above, and we are now forming almost a flag right here in this area, which I'm going to highlight as we continue to drop further down into the chart. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's delete this channel off, okay? And let's look at where we are in as far as support and resistance inside of this area. Now, if you're ever inside of an area of price where there isn't anything, like usually you would have this as like a double top or some type of support or resistance, but since it's broken above it, we need to see if there's anything else in the area that holds some type of relevance or weight. And the first thing I'm looking at is this little bit of price right here. But look what the time frame is that I'm pulling this bit of data off of. It's the 1-hour time frame. And the 1-hour time frame is a lower time frame, which means that it doesn't hold as much weight as a higher time frame, and the higher time frames indicating our 4-hour, our daily, weekly, and monthly. Okay, so if I had seen the support and resistance on our daily or our 4-hour time frame, I'd be more prone to using it. But since it's on such a low scale, like a low time frame, I'm not really gonna be paying a ton of attention to it. Yes, I'm gonna watch it, but it's not gonna be my main decision factor of whether I'm taking this trade or if I'm not taking this trade. The second thing that I'm noticing on this is this channel that's kind of formed right here. And now I'm prone to take this from taking it and doing a channel like this, which I see, right? Then you'd have the top of the channel up here somewhere like that. Since it's imperfect, I'm going to separate that channel. I'm not going to use it. Instead, what this would have been right here is where I took my trade. This now becomes a flag. And then also in this area, this was a flag. And then we had our first break above in our descending channel. We broke back above this area, forming our higher low. Okay, let me show you. We broke above this, forms this bit of structure. We drop down, we fell to break this low, and now we get this bit of movement, price action up, and we get a bit of a flag in this area before pushing up and forming a flag again over the break of this structure. And there we get this flag where you could have also taken your buy. That's the buy that we took the other day, where the market left us behind. We didn't fully stick to our plan like we should have, and I gave a really detailed analysis on that as well. So be sure to go back and check that one out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this support and resistance zone back. Okay, so, and the reason I'm not putting it here, right, is because I want to sure it up. And by sure it up, I mean I want to see that there's multiple touches. So example would be this area right here, this area right here, and even this little spot. So I'm just going to move up the support and resistance in this situation. So that way I know that there's some type of like I said, a resistance or a support in this area. And the reason I'm not putting it below this right here is because price, if we zoom in now, okay, right here, price just gently, it closed here, it pushed down, and then it immediately closed back above. So I'm not going to really count that in that situation. So instead, I would just bring it up to here and here, where we now have a clear breakthrough, failed rejection, and then break back above. And it's kind of the same thing here. We broke through on one candle, closed back above, and immediately we're pushing higher. So that now becomes where I'm finding my support and resistance in this area. Again, it's on the 1 hour time frame, so I'm not going to be taking it as if it's a higher time frame support and resistance. It's not going to hold as much weight. But you can see we had some rejection here, some rejection here. But I'm just going to leave it here, and I'm going to start my top of my trend line here. And I'm going to go off the wicks, because the wicks, most people leave out the wicks. And look, there's a time to place your trend lines on the wicks, and there's a time where you want to read between the lines. Okay, so when I have multiple wicks up in this area, like this right here, where I have multiple wicks, even this, I want to make sure that I don't exclude those inside of my trend, outside of my trend line, because price has made, it's shown that it's went up in that area more than once in the past. So if I'm seeing multiple rejections with high wicks up top, then I want to make sure that I'm using those as my trend line area. So what I would be looking for now is for price to come up in this area and either give us some type of rejection back down below here, where we would look to take some sort of flag before dropping lower. And really what that would look like is push here. We'd get some type of rejection, another failed attempt, come lower, and then the market would start to break down. Now, I usually don't pay a ton of attention to the news, but there has been a lot of talks of wars going on with Hezbollah, Israel, everything, blah, blah, blah. There's been a ton of elections going on. The U.S. just went through some major things. So I'm going to be not trying to fight the trend in this situation. Again, if we're in an upward trend, you want to be looking for trades in the upward trend direction. If we're in a downward trend, vice versa, we want to be looking for trades in a downward trend direction. Especially for this strategy that I actively trade inside of, I want to make sure that I'm not fighting the trend because the trend is our friend. That's where we're going to find a majority of our setups. And if I'm taking a counter trend trade, it needs to be on a lower time frame, like we are right now on the 1 hour, where we will get a counter trend move, but it's not going to be a significant move. It's going to be something of the stature of around 700 points, 400 points, which in the grand scheme of things isn't really a big move. A big move, we're looking at 1,200 points to 2,000 points. So right now, we're going to be waiting for gold to give us some type of. Let me show you now. Let me back this up. I want to see a failed rejection if I'm taking a short. Failed up top, and now we get some type of movement down here. I don't know why my flags are not turning out okay today, y'all. They're a little wonky and all over the place. Like I said, that would be more inclined to me taking a short position as we approach the market, but I also want to look at it in the other way too. I'd love to see a clear break above, and if we do, I want to find that first pullback that we get. Let's drop down to the 15-minute time frame now, okay? Now you can really see this flag, but I want you to look at where this flag is at. And also, we don't want to disregard the price movement that we've had up into this area as well. The majority, though, of this movement, if we look, we had one impulse here, but the candles, look, these are all relatively small candles, We have one big impulse up, and now look at all the candles that are forming. Majority of these candles on this move have been relatively small in nature. They're very small candlesticks, which means there's not a lot of money entering the market. It has been very minuscule in retrospect, and where there has been money entering the market, it's being indicated by these moves here, this move here, these moves, and I would even say some of this. And now look how much of this price then has been not, big moves inside of the market. And we're just going to go ahead and just put it inside of a box now. We have this section where it's smaller candles, had this section, smaller candles, and then, of course, where we're at now, majority of this has been smaller candles. So that's something I'm paying attention to. Is there a ton of momentum on this side of the reversal? And we're getting some movement right now. We just broke above this high right here. And we failed to break this low again. So instead, and we didn't even break this low right here either. So we might be looking at a continuation up here to the top side for a smaller trade where you'd be looking to take it up here. That's only 64 pips. Like I said, I'm not one to really usually trade into these areas, especially when we're getting this type of nature and price. So instead, I want to wait for the market to tell me what it wants to do. Especially if I find myself, if I find myself in this type of pattern as we approach this area as significant as this. And look, there's so much room up here to the top side, okay? We could look for something like this to take it higher. That would be something I'd be interested in, especially if we get a break above this. Up top, looking for a flag in this area, or we could have a very clear break above, then some type of steeper pullback into which we would be looking to take a trade up in this area as well, or you could enter off the break of this trend line, taking it up into the weekly liquidity zone also, where we might just form some type of bigger trend once we get a break of our last weekly candle, form some sort of bigger retracement like this, where we could take the next push back above. And usually when we get a break of a high, like here, we broke the high and then we pulled back inside of the market. Let's find another example here. We broke the high and then we got some sort of pullback. Let's look at another example here. We broke the high, we got a pullback. Even when people thought it left them, look what it did. Pull back all the way down into this area, and for the market to continue higher. So there's so many times where people think price is left without them, and that's why you're going to always hear me say, just wait for price to tell you what it wants to do, because it will tell you what it wants to do. There's no such thing as the market just completely leaving without you. And if it does, that's okay. That it just meant like that trade wasn't meant for you. And you would rather let the trade leave without you and you not be forcing your opinion on the market, taking a major loss because you were over leveraged and you're emotionally invested inside of a trade that wasn't yours in the first place. And you could have just waited for a better setup. So that's what we're going to do right here. I see a beautiful pattern. I want to see a couple things. Like I said, let's see a clear break above and then get some form of retracement to possibly take it higher. I'm not going to be upset about a move like that, or we just get a pure rejection of this area and then we start to move lower. And then the moment that I see us start breaking this area right here, and especially if we break this area, even just a fraction, and then we pull back up into this area, I want to look to take it lower. And when I take it lower, I'm looking down into an area like this right here. That's going to be one of my first targets. And then my second target is going to be our daily liquidity zone into this area. So that's how I'm approaching gold. I saw some movement on Bitcoin. So let's just check out Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit my target at 62,313. Again, if you haven't been here for some of these streams, I marked that area up a while ago. It was at the bottom of our trend line. 1, 2, 3. We break the trend line. We come back up. We immediately drop back down, hit 62,313, and we just push back above. And not only do we push back above, but look, like I said, look what area we just pushed back above in. We had this lower high, we just got a break above, and now guess what? We're pulling back into the area. We want to see it form some type of pattern into here to where we would potentially be taking buys back up into here. If not, we'd want to see the market come back down, break this, then give us an indication that it wants to go lower in some form of pattern down in that area. But yeah, Bitcoin hit both our targets on the sells. We marked up this flag the other week, and it just came down and tagged it perfectly at 62,000. I forget how many points that was. Yeah, 357 pips. Well, nothing crazy, but definitely a good trade opportunity. And we touched perfectly off the top of this. Just nuts. 18 minutes left, so let's check out US 30 as well. US 30, we had a break. We failed to break our 1 hour liquidity zone, and instead we pushed higher, which is what we talked about, especially because it gave us this flag in here, and then the market kind of trickled on up, and now we had a break back below. But what's important, again, what I say, you want to see a higher high, you want to see a higher low, you want to see a lower high. But if we get another higher low right here in this area and the market starts to push back up, go ahead and look for trades in this direction, the upward trend direction. So that's been our market review. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I will publish an idea as I always do, except I'm probably going to publish an idea around 1 a.m. Mountain time. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you during that trading session. As always, it has been a pleasure. And until next Asia session, peace.